Saigon High-Tech Park celebrates 15th founding anniversary. And later on, APEC 2017 opens up opportunities for the business community in Vietnam. Hello and welcome to another edition of BizLine here on VTV International. I'm your host Hoàng Hằng, and we will now take a look at some economic highlights over the past week. Saigon High-Tech Park in Ho Chi Minh City is expected to become Vietnam's Silicon Valley and the regional hub of innovation. Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc requested at the 15th founding anniversary of Vietnam's most successful high-tech park last Sunday. So far, the Saigon High-Tech Park has had a total of 126 high-tech projects with a total investment capital of nearly $7 billion, creating 40,000 jobs. The added value of technological products here is about 3 times higher than in other industrial zones. At present, this high-tech park is establishing a model of scientific urbanization, promoting the development of high technologies in Ho Chi Minh City and the whole country. On the same day, Prime Minister also visited Intel Products Vietnam, a major complex in Saigon High-Tech Park, where many products are manufactured. From Tuesday to Thursday, the National Assembly discussed socio-economic development and state budget from now until 2020. Although there were still concerns about the growth of the economy relying on FDI enterprises, Deputy General highly appreciated the government efforts in reforming and managing the economy, creating favorable conditions for businesses. However, deputies pointed out the challenges, especially ones relating to investment and business, natural disasters and climate change, which has hindered the growth of localities. Deputies also raised concerns about the World Bank statistics showing that the rate of tax revenue in Vietnam is currently around 20% compared to Thailand at 16.1% and Philippines at 13.5% and Indonesia at 12.4%. This makes Vietnam's tax fees 1.3 to 3 times higher compared to regional countries. The state still holds 81% of the total shares across state-owned enterprises, leaving the level of private investors' involvement at only 9.5%, with strategic investors' participation at an even lower level of 7.3%. These figures were announced by the Central Institute for Economic Management at a conference on attracting strategic investors in SOEs equitization in Hanoi on Monday. Difficulties in attracting strategic investors result from inadequate evaluation of enterprises and their stock prices, lack of information transparency, and a complex selling method. Currently, only 13% of state-owned enterprises have been approved to sell more than 50% of their shares to strategic shareholders. This reduces investment incentives for shareholders as they do not guarantee the right to manage these businesses. At the conference, analysts call for the relaxation of criteria on selecting investors, allowing the independent pricing of stocks to ensure an accurate evaluation. The latest Doing Business report from the World Bank ranks Vietnam 68th among 190 economies, 14 places higher than in the previous report. Vietnam is also listed as one of the 2 countries have had made the most reforms. Vietnam's business climate has 8 out of 10 indices that have increased. In the ASEAN, Vietnam ranks 5th behind Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, and Brunei. Today, the average entrepreneur in Ho Chi Minh City spends 22 days and 6.5% of their income per capita registering a new company, compared to 61 days and 31.9% in 2003. According to World Bank experts, Vietnam's increased rank is a testimony to the effectiveness of its effort in reforming the business environment and building a facilitating government. Moody's Investors Service has changed its outlook for Vietnam's banking system from a stable to positive for the next 12 to 18 months, reflecting the country's strong economic prospects. Robust economic growth based on ongoing improvements to infrastructure, favorable demographics, and the government's continued focus on reform to support foreign direct investments were all cited for the improved rating. However, Moody's warned that high credit costs might affect the banking sector. Over $220 million in bad debt has been collected by the Vietnam Asset Management Company or VAMC in just a month after the National Assembly Resolution 42 on settling bad debts were issued. It is estimated that VAMC can settle $968 million of bad debt in 2017, accounting for a third of the total bad debt since the establishment of the company. The rate of settling bad debt has been accelerated as Resolution 42 allowed the lenders to be more active in settling bad debts. If the borrower refuses to hand over assets used as collateral, VAMC and the banks can seize them without having to go to court like in the past, when such cases could take from 3 to 4 years. To minimize disputes, VAMC has extended the interest-free period for borrowers who are cooperating with the company in settling bad debts. According to VAMC, banks themselves have been able to settle $29.5 billion in bad debt since August 2012. The Ministry of Industry and Trade has decided to resume the operation of the Competitive Electricity Generation Market, or CGM, on November the 1st after a one-month suspension. The move was made after the ministry had carefully considered the operation of the electricity system in October and the plans to run the electricity system and the CGM in November. The CGM was launched in July 2012 to diversify power sources, reduce the country's dependence on hydropower plants, and make the power market more competitive. However, from October the 1st, the operation of the market was suspended temporarily in order to maximize the consumption of gas-based power production. According to the ministry, the country produced and imported a total of over 17 billion kilowatt-hour of electricity in October, up 7.77% year-on-year. Those are some highlights in the economic scene. Up next in our crosstalk, we will see how the upcoming APEC Economic Leaders Week open up opportunities for the business community in Vietnam. It's only days until the APEC Economic Leaders Week set to take place in Da Nang City from the 4th to the 11th of November. The event will be attended by leaders of the 21 member economies, official delegates, head of the world's largest economic groups, and journalists from international media agencies. As the host of this year's event, the summit is expected to bring about golden opportunities and strategic impetus for Vietnam and its business community in terms of trade and investment. This week's edition of BizLine will explore in depth the opportunities and challenges for Vietnamese firms in the context of global integration. But first, let's get an overview of the APEC Summit 2017 and its priorities in the following clip.
Established in 1989, the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation, or APEC, comprises 21 economies and represents about 39% of the world's population, 57% of the global GDP, and 49% of international trade. The year 2017 sees the second time Vietnam has played the host to the APEC Forum with Economic Leaders Week and sideline events taking place in Da Nang City from the 4th to the 11th of November. The theme of this year's summit is Creating New Dynamism, Fostering a Shared Future. It reflects the common concern of APEC member economies for integration, connectivity, and economic growth. Vietnam also proposed 4 main priorities, including promoting sustainable, innovative, and inclusive growth, deepening regional economic integration, strengthening competitiveness and innovation for micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises in the digital age, and enhancing food security and sustainable agriculture.
Cái đợt này phải nói là chúng ta tập trung toàn lực phối hợp với các cái nền kinh tế để mà đưa ra được những cái dự án, những cái văn kiện rất là cụ thể để mà thúc đẩy 4 cái ưu tiên mà chúng ta đề ra, trong đó nó liên quan cả đến việc xác định cái tương lai của APEC từ nay đến 2020 và sau đó.
These priorities aim to resume regional growth and connectivity, contributing to fulfillment of the BOGO goals and the implementation of the United Nations Agenda on Sustainable Development through 2030.
We invited to our studio today Mr. Hoàng Văn Dũng, Chairman of the APEC Business Advisory Council, to give us an insight into the opportunities lie ahead for the Vietnam's business community. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
It's my pleasure.
Okay, first of all, as the host for APEC 2017, Vietnam proposed a theme of creating a new dynamism and fostering a shared future with 4 cooperation priorities. What do you think about these priorities?
This year we organized the APEC Summit in Vietnam. This is a good opportunity to show off the Vietnamese business and create potential for the foreign partner to join with us to develop the business together. We are one of the dynamic and largest in ASEAN, and many economy expected this year will bring turnaround for the Vietnam economy. On behalf of the APEC Business Advisory Council, I present to President of Vietnam, Trần Đại Quang, the 20 recommendation and suggestion from the APEC Business Council. The focus of APEC economy is the most important for the business in this region. That is integration and open trade and investment, because it brings down the tariff, which will bring a lot of benefit to business and the people in the region. The second priority is to help small and medium companies to enhance their capacity. These companies is a driving force for the economic growth. And helping them, that is helping our economy and helping the people living standard. The third priority is innovation, technology, that help the SME to increase the capacity to catch up with the world. The fourth priority that is training people. Vietnam have a lot of potential in human resources, but we need training people, skilled workers, so that we can increase the value and the capacity of our company and also our economy.
Now, what can the Vietnamese business community benefit from these priorities in terms of trade and investment?
The first benefit for the Vietnamese company and also other economy in the region, that to bring down the tariff. At the moment, we have a 17% to 5.2. Hopefully, later on, we can bring down to 0. The second, we bring in the new technology, new management skill, and new market. That is the second. And the third opportunity for Vietnamese company, then we can learn the management skill, and we can access to international market, and we can join the global value chains. I expect that with the use of the opportunity and technology, so that we can grow faster. But in order to grasp the opportunity, we have to increase our capacity, and we have to understand how the world works and how we can compete in competition world. That is challenging for companies.
As the host of APEC 2017, the summit could be a golden opportunity for Vietnam to accelerate trade and investment promotion in other APEC member economies. For instance, leather and footwear are one of Vietnam's 5 major exports to APEC economies. APEC member economies currently account for 60% of Vietnam's leather and footwear export.
Cho đến nay, các hoạt động xúc tiến xuất khẩu vẫn được diễn ra và có sự tăng trưởng rất là tốt. Điển hình như thị trường Mỹ có mức tăng trưởng lên đến 20%, và cái mức tăng trưởng đó vẫn tiếp tục được phát triển trong cái thời gian tới.
Vietnam's major exports to APEC include electronics, footwear, garments, and textiles and furniture. APEC is a key forum to help Vietnam boost trade relations with major economies such as the US, Japan and China.
Việt Nam hiện nay là quốc gia có độ mở nền kinh tế rất là lớn và trong bối cảnh chúng ta là một trong những đối tác quan trọng trong top 10 của Trung Quốc, cũng như là Trung Quốc là bạn hàng quan trọng nhất của Việt Nam, thì việc hai bên tạo ra các cái thuận lợi thương mại cho nhau thông qua những diễn đàn như vậy có ý nghĩa rất là quan trọng. Các bên có thể tiến tới với nhau một cái thỏa thuận về nâng cao cái tỷ trọng hàng thương mại chính ngạch.
In the coming time, APEC member economies aim to remove barriers to cross-border trade and investment in order to make APEC the leading region for trade and investment liberalization.
Trong cái tuần lễ qua APEC này thì chúng ta cũng một lần nữa khẳng định với thế giới và đưa ra cam kết của chính phủ về tiếp tục cải thiện môi trường kinh doanh theo hướng minh bạch, thuận lợi, vươn tới các chuẩn mực hàng đầu của ASEAN và vươn tới những cái chuẩn mực của OECD.
Experts said the key to APEC's success was when people and businesses are the focus of its development. APEC has to include all factors in the society in its development in order to achieve prosperity. Now, about 98% of Vietnamese businesses are small and medium-sized enterprises. And as you've mentioned earlier, they face a lot of challenges. So what should be done for these businesses to really grasp this golden opportunity from APEC?
The private sector, private business in Vietnam just developed 30 years ago. In other countries, in our region, they have 100 years. That's why when we join the APEC in ASEAN, that we had to open the door for foreign company to compete and operate in Vietnam. That is a big challenge for Vietnamese company. Now we have to operate with the international company. They have 100 years of experience. They have money, they have access with international market. That is the biggest challenge for the company in Vietnam. Then how to increase their capacity to compete in local and then gradually can access to international market.
What do you think are the potential for Vietnamese businesses in this digital age?
The foreign company have a lot of expectation for the Vietnamese company and the market because we have big population. 100 million people is a big market. The second potential is we have logistic position. We have long coastline. We can set up the production bay in the region, manufacture and ship over the world. And we have raw materials like oil and gas and many industrial raw materials. The only thing is that the government had to create the good environment, trade policy, so that people can do business and grow together.
Technological advances are changing the job market every day. Many jobs are disappearing, while others are being created. In Thailand, 73% of the workforce in the automobile manufacturing is at risk of being replaced by automation. In Vietnam, 86% of workers in the garment and footwear sectors are experiencing the same predicament.
Trách nhiệm của các chính phủ trong cái nền kinh tế APEC tức là tạo một cái môi trường làm sao để những người lao động có thể tiếp cận được, có thể sống được, hòa nhập được khi mà thế giới trải qua cái cuộc cách mạng lần thứ tư.
The fourth industrial revolution poses many challenges in improving workers' abilities and equipping them with new skills to meet evolving demands.
But now is a window in which we need to prepare for those changes. It's going to require new skills in terms of technology skills, but also new skills in terms of working with people.
The lack of skilled labor remains a problem, partially due to the shortcomings in connection between labor supply and demand. These are challenges for the APEC in restructuring and reforming human resource development and market recovery, improving the labor market and being more efficient in linking labor supply and demand is essential in a digital age.
it is estimated that 86% of Vietnamese garment and textile laborers will be replaced by automation in the near future. So what is the one message that we should send to our business community in order for them not to fall behind?
So far we have big labor forces. They can not adapt new technology in the automobile, in the digital and electronics. They only work with textile and garment and shoe. But now with the high tech, we need vocational training. I think in order to improve and move forward, the government should target for vocational training.
For the first time, the Vietnam Business Summit will be held within the framework of APEC 2017. Do you think this is a good opportunity for businesses to promote trade and investment?
This year we'll do doing business with Vietnam. For the first time we organized here. And then we have an exhibition, the potential for 63 provinces and cities. And then we organize the delegation to meet with the foreign delegates. This year we celebrate 50 years of ASEAN. And we invite all the leaders from ASEAN and leaders of APEC to meet together and then join together. I think it's good.
All 21 leaders of the APEC economies have confirmed their attendance at the upcoming APEC 2017 Economic Leaders Week in the central city of Da Nang. At the same time, a record number of more than 2,000 leading foreign and domestic businesses have registered to attend the CEO Summit, making it the best attended event by businesses within the week. Among 8 main events during the APEC High-Level Week, Vietnam maintains a consistent message for APEC member economies and partners.
Our key message across all APEC 2017 activities is that member economies are determined and committed to taking action and delivering tangible results in terms of more open trade and investment, more inclusive, sustainable, and innovative growth that benefits our people and businesses. We expect that our meeting will generate further momentum for APEC's economic growth and integration.
Many of the world leaders will be in Da Nang to attend the APEC Economic Leaders Week. How do you think their presence will impact APEC and also Vietnam in particular?
We have all together leaders from 21 economies attend. Even Donald Trump already agreed to come. Chinese President Tập Cận Bình also agreed. Putin and APEC, all the big states already come and to talk direct with the business people. And we expect about 1,300 CEOs from all over the world come together and share the experience and talk directly how the government and the private sector can work together so that we can grow together. Because we think no economy, no country in the world can survive without integration, without joining together. And everybody benefit from this process.
Now, with a series of meetings for APEC 2017 took place from the beginning of the year until now, what has been the main topic of discussion for businesses and also member economies?
In the last months of this year, we have a lot of meetings, especially very important is the SME meeting lately in Ho Chi Minh City. And all the people is talking how to create better environment for business growth. That is the most important. And the second, how to finance for SME to grow. Finance for infrastructure development. Because in our region, we have big requirement for infrastructure development. But the government have no money. But how to create public-private partnership that to create framework for the private sector foreign sector, and even Vietnamese private people can invest the money so that we can grow together.
What do you think about Vietnam's integration process within APEC and also the benefits we receive?
I had the honor to organize the first CEO summit in Vietnam in 2006, and I see in the last 11 years, the private sector have grown a lot and contribute a lot to economy. We joined APEC in 1998, and we host this is second time. And last time we had investment increase from 10 billion US dollar to $64 billion in 2008, and bring a lot of investment to Vietnam. Now foreign investment in Vietnam, about 20,000 foreign business operating in Vietnam with the money, capital money, about 300 billion US dollar. FDI now contribute about 25% of GDP in Vietnam, create 35% of industrial output, and more than 70% of export value, and create million direct and indirect jobs, and changing Vietnam from agricultural country to industry country and service industry.
Okay.
And this year we expect that more than 1,000 CEOs from over the world get together in Vietnam to see the opportunity to negotiate and join with Vietnamese partner and to make this year a great success.
Thank you so much for joining us.
It's my pleasure.
2017 creates new dynamism for the largest economic forum in the Asia-Pacific region. It marks Vietnam's important role in APEC cooperation and the significance of Vietnam's hosting of the event this time. Having joined the forum for nearly 20 years, this is the second time that Vietnam has been selected as the host country for APEC events. This reflects the high level of trust that the international community dedicated to the country. Vietnam's active participation in APEC 2017 is expected to give the Vietnamese businesses opportunities to promote investment and trade, as well as confirms Vietnam's long-term policy of diversifying and multilateralizing its foreign relations. And that's all for this edition of BizLine. For more of our programs and updates, do log on to vtv4.vn or our YouTube channel at VTV4Go. Goodbye for now, and thanks for stopping by.